everyone. On today's episode, we are learning more about down payment assistance programs, also known as DPA. We want to make sure home buyers have a mortgage payment that's comfortable for them, and we just want people to be able to enjoy their dream home. So we have Tony Perri on from Novus Home Mortgage on today's episode. Welcome, Tony. Can you tell us a little bit about Nevada's down payment assistance program?
Hi, Rhonda. Yeah, no problem at all. I'm kind of excited about it. We've been doing Nevada down payment assistance for about the last 5 years. It's through the state of Nevada, the program, which is really cool. There's several different options. A lot of people believe that they have to be a first-time homebuyer to get down payment assistance. And Nevada has a great program where you do not have to be a first-time homebuyer to get down payment assistance.
Excellent.
The number one thing, it can give you up to 4% of the purchase price to use towards closing costs and the actual down payment. The first thing we look at on qualification, the state of Nevada looks at on qualification, is how much income you make. Down payment assistance designed to help people get into housing that are not in the super high income or the high income brackets. It's the middle income is what this program was designed for. Nevada wants everybody to have home ownership and quit renting. And the bigger your household, the more you can make and qualify for this program. So that's why, like, when you call Rhonda, she sends you over to me, I'm going to say, okay, how many children do you have? How many are not working? Because that's important because of household income. Is your partner or your spouse working or not working? I wouldn't use it then if you're transient type position, less than 5 years of residency in Las Vegas.
Okay, so 5 years is about the cutoff. If they plan on staying in the house for 5 or more years, that's when the down payment assistance makes sense. Okay, got it.
The one for first-time home buyers is exactly what it says right on there. It is for first-time buyers. It's up to 4% of the total loan amount, usable for down payment, 30-year non-forgivable, but they give you a lower fixed interest rate. Let's go over the 30-year non-forgivable part because people tend to get a little confused on that, all right? So let's use a $300,000 purchase price and you're getting a 4% down payment assistance program from the state of Nevada. That's $12,000. You have no payments on that $12,000. It just sits in the background, looms in the background. You owe this money when you sell the house. You don't owe it for any other reason, okay? So it is down payment assistance. Nevada's putting these little liens on your property. It's no big deal because in 3 or 4 years on $300,000, you'll more, make that up in equity.
Okay, so let's take, for example, that $12,000 and they don't have to pay it off until they sell the home.
Correct.
Does interest accumulate on that $12,000? So suddenly when they go to sell the house, it's not $12,000, it's more?
Not in the home as possible.
Okay.
For first-time home buyers, there's no interest accumulation.
Okay.
Just there so people don't use the 12 grand, sell the house in a year and think, oh man, I just made up 12 grand off the state.
Okay, understood. No, that's good to know.
Program requirements: minimum credit score of 640 is number one. Must be a first-time home buyer. And classification of first-time home buyer is not owning a home in the last 3 years. The debt ratios, everything else, that's kind of can't exceed a 50% debt ratio. So if you make $8,000 a month, you can't exceed $4,000 in total payments on car notes, credit cards, and house. That's the easiest way to explain debt ratio. Maximum purchase price in Clark County is $544,000. So it actually allows you to go up into the upper levels. Maximum household income of 3 people or more is $117,000 in Clark County. $117,000, you should easily qualify for $300 to $450, unless you have a $1,500 car payment. You're 45 years old and have a 22-year-old living at home and he's working, that's part of his income is considered household income. You can't just say, oh, he's not on the loan, it doesn't count. It might be a good time to boot him out if you want to use the program, just joking. Might be a good time for him to send him to Rhonda, and start the mortgage process and the home buying process for a young person. I'm telling you, the younger you buy a house, and we're going to get more in the cost of waiting down the road, the more you gain equity. So But again, this home is
I
powerful.
I actually did a reel today about your future self thanking you for buying a home today.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree about, the cost of waiting, starting to build generational wealth. That's all very important. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead,
No,
Tony.
it is. I use an example. We could get to at the end here. I found a nice property on Sombrero Drive in Las Vegas. I did a little research on it, right? I'm like, wow, this house looks really nice. It's for sale right now for $583,000. The buyer paid $62,500 for it in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
in 13 years, he's gained $500,000 in appreciation.
Was that a foreclosure?
Back then, no.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I did a big history. It was built in 91 and sold for 50 grand in 91. So that's the home is possible for first time home buyers. If you want more information, reach out to Rhonda. She'll connect you with me. We can go over all the details and see if you qualify for it. Home is possible is for anybody. You don't have to be a first time home buyer. You just can't own a home in Nevada. So let's say you have a house in California, you're transferred to Nevada. You can use it. Pretty cool there. There's no first time buyer requirement whatsoever. It just makes it easier. Now, qualifying income on this, and again, I could, let's say you're a first time home buyer and you're like, hey, Tone, I make 140 grand. This program allows up to 165,000 in household income. So it's really, really good that it gives us the ability for the higher earners to go up to that next level and actually get 5%. It does have to be a primary residence. You can't say want to buy an investment property. It will not work for that.
And is it similar to the first-time home buyers that you talked about earlier, where it puts a lien on your property, but you don't have to make any payments? You don't have to pay the state back until you sell the home?
100% correct. Now, you can actually stack this program with a regular down payment. So say you wanted to put 15% down and you don't want to pay private mortgage insurance. Great. Let's take the 5% free, from Nevada. Now we got a 20% down loan, no PMI. So we actually start saving even more money. We save up, $70, $80 a month in private mortgage insurance that's tacked onto your loan payment every month. So you can get away with a 3% down loan or a 3.5% down FHA loan and take up to 5% to pay all the closing costs. So really you're kind of moving in this house with no money down. This one is eligible also for manufactured homes. Novus Home Mortgage is part of Federal Home Loan Bank because we're a federally chartered bank. We have money to give away every year. So we get about $1.5 million through Federal Home Loan Bank for first-time buyers. We give it away in $7,500 increments. This is for low to moderate income. It's not for moderate to high. Single person by themselves, small household, can't make more than $65,000. So if you're buying a first-time condo, great program. We're giving you $7,500 for free, forgivable in 5 years. It's beautiful.
That's excellent.
Household of 4 or more, income level goes up to about $95,000. It is for, again, low to moderate income. But think about it for a second. If you qualify for the Novus 7,500, we can stack that on top of the teacher 7,500 or on top of the first-time home buyer 7,500. So, or excuse me, the first-time home buyer is 4%. So you could literally get 4% from the Nevada, and then we'll stack 7,500 on top of it. So we're bringing your mortgage payment down by utilizing this, or we can buy your interest rate down to make your payment more affordable. It's one of the only programs because it's through us that we can put on top of another down payment assistance.
That's excellent, Tony. So basically, it's reducing the chance that someone will have to pay that PMI insurance, and it's sort of breaking down those barriers into home ownership for lower income buyers that are maybe just starting out, families. I love that. I love that. So thank you for sharing that program with us as well.
Sure. All these programs want to see a 1% commitment from the buyer. If it's $350,000, you need to have $3,500 into the transaction. They'll give you all the other money free. So, Rhonda, when you take a contract, you get earnest money, right? So if I was buying a house today from you for $300,000, at the beginning of the transaction, you write the contract, and on the contract it says earnest money. The typical earnest money is how much in Clark County?
So, and just for first-time home buyers, to explain to them what earnest money is, it's sort of that good faith down payment, if you will, that they hold until you actually close on the property that applies to your down payment. We usually do probably anywhere above 1%. So for a $300,000 property, that would be around $3,000.
Okay. So as I was stating earlier, all these programs through the state of Nevada, even with the Novus program, we require 1% of your money into the transaction. So if you gave Rhonda the $3,000 earnest money check, you're going to come to closing with no other money. How exciting is that? I mean, think about it. First month's rent on a $2,500 apartment out there is probably, it's $2,500, then security deposit, it's another $1,500, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, you're bringing less than renting to go and buy a home. And the key thing that I found in Nevada, they had a fourth program, but they ran out of money. I mean, these programs are state funded, and you got to make sure there's money available.
So basically, it's one of those things that you don't want to wait. One of the costs of waiting is that you're losing out on down payment assistance programs that have a finite amount of funding from the government. And once the money's gone, it's gone. You want to get in there. So
even at Novus, our money, we ran out of money about September 30th of last year. And then we had to wait until February 15th to restock the funds. People are very visual now. Just me talking about numbers is confusing. So we go to the next slide and look at this. So $350,000 on the left-hand side of the screen in blue, you see the purchase price. Down payment is 3% of $10,500. Gives a loan amount of $339,000. The state's interest rate, because the state sets the interest rate for these programs. So calling me and I tell you, hey, the rate today is 7.125. There's no sense in calling anybody else because the state puts out a federal, this is all we can, this is the rate. There's no lower, there's no higher. So it's due in 360 months, which is 30 years. So your principal and interest on this property is $2,287. Your homeowner's insurance, around $80 to $100 a month. Property taxes were $111 a month on this property. And because you're not putting 20% down, PMI, private mortgage insurance, is $113. Total payment on this house is $2,591. 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $2,591. Mortgages that have these down payment assistance programs, you can go to Novus Home Mortgage, or you go to ABC Home Mortgage. We're all going to have the exact same rate. It's who's good at it, who's underwriting it in-house, who's done enough of them that they don't get confused. You're looking for experience on this program more so than an interest rate, because we all have to charge the exact same rate. They're preset daily by the state of Nevada. Rhonda, this looks great. $2,590. I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $350,000 with 3% down. Let's talk about how much you're going to need at closing using the down payment assistance program. So our packages went from like 20 pages to 40 pages. Now the consumer's like, that's so many pages, right? So what I try doing when I meet with a client, I share a screen, whatever we have to do, is I highlight the most important numbers that affect you, is your payment and how much cash is coming out of your pocket. Would you agree with me that is the most?
That's the most important. Those are the most important numbers that the buyers are asking about. Correct.
So I showed you what the payment was on this $350,000 house. Mm-hmm. And I showed you total monthly payment. So this slide here breaks down the first line item highlighted in yellow is the $349,900, the contract price. The second line that says show all VOAL of $10,000, that's the down payment assistance on this house. The third line is the earnest money that's highlighted in yellow of $3,500, like we talked about it earlier, 1%. And this person had to bring in no money at closing. They got $222.38 back at closing.
Perfect. Thank you for showing us this example and actually showing us this home that they could purchase for that amount. And you're right, it's just incredible to think about coming to closing with no money and all you needed was first and last month's rent, right? And
Right.
you're actually owning a home and starting to build generational wealth for your family. I love that.
They're 200 grand. Can I afford this if I make 60 grand or 65,000? My answer would be more than likely yes, Rhonda. We can get them to afford it. And again, if you buy this and you live there for 5, 6, 7 years, and all of a sudden you meet your life partner and decide you want to have a family, you have so much equity you can get from selling that property that you can now move into your dream home. And that's the problem is we wait till we're 35 and we want to go right from nothing to our dream home. Let's take some steps.
I love that. I love that. So talk about the cost of waiting. Because like you said, a lot of people are like, well, I'm not ready. Maybe the market or interest rates or whatever the comments are, right? Let's talk about the cost of waiting and maybe talk about the long-term investment of just buying that home.
Sure. I can give you example after example. I actually found this property that was for sale at 2205 Sombrero Drive in Las Vegas. I'm not going to share my screen, but I put that address there. You guys can look it up. I did the research on this property. It's crazy. So this property sold for $51,000 July 15th of 2011. July 15th of 2011. That's 14 years, okay, ago. Guess how much it's listed for today? This house is listed for $593,000.
That's incredible.
When you're looking online and you can go to the property history for the consumer, most websites will show it to you. Just go to property history. It'll show you what the person paid for it in 2021 or 2022. And you start doing that math in your head and say, wow, this person bought this house for $300. 4 years later, they're selling for $425. It's very difficult for any person, young or old, to save $125,000 or $100,000 in 4 years. It's really difficult. So your house.
And you have to live somewhere. And that was my message in my reel today, right? You're going to pay rent. And whether you're paying that rent towards your mortgage or your landlord's mortgage, you might as well get that equity in your own future, right? And start building that generational wealth, like I said.
Your landlord that you're paying is building generational wealth for himself and his family through you.
What if your landlord is selling the house you're living in? What do you do with that?
Try buying it from him immediately before he starts showing it, because so the quirks with the house. You're comfortable there. You don't really want to move, and get with Rhonda and me, and we'll see if the payment's less than rent. But the first step from buying the house from the landlord is you got to get pre-qualified no matter what. You got to have a professional realtor represent you, because you don't want to overpay, and Rhonda can do comparables in the neighborhood to make sure that you're not overpaying for that property. But if it's a super deal, and usually landlords want to sell to their tenants, would love to sell their tenants. I was a landlord for many years. I love selling to my tenants. I didn't have to go in and paint the house. I didn't have to, go clean it. I didn't have to call my tenant, say, hey, so-and-so is coming by to look at the house. Is that okay? So the landlord's got a lot of benefit of selling to you. The other thing that they can do is your security deposit can be used towards a down payment, because you probably gave a security deposit. We can probably use one of these down payment assistance programs we talked about towards a down payment. So at least make the call to see if you can fit, if we can make it all work for you. If you like the house that you're renting, great. Let's see if we can get you in it.
Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate it. Well, we appreciate everyone's time today. If you can like or subscribe to the channel, we will see you on our next episode.